Hello Helldivers, Fate here, welcome back to a brand new video. First off, sorry for my voice, I've been sick for the past week and it's honestly been a while since I played any Helldivers. And let's be real, it's not exactly a mystery why. Recently the game's been plagued by numerous bugs, PC hardlocking issues, and some heavy community drama, including the Aravan blacklisting situation and Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear's removal from the Propaganda Commanders program. And it's clear something's been up over at Arrowhead, and the player count hasn't been looking great either. We've seen a noticeable drop compared to the hype around the Xbox launch. Now, I'm not saying the game has completely fallen flat, far from it, but it's definitely hit a rough patch. Personally, I've been spending a lot of time on Battlefield 6, especially around its launch, and it's been refreshing. I've even grown my channel a bit in that community, which has been awesome. But make no mistake, I still love Helldivers 2, and it's been tough watching it in this state. And that brings us to this week's huge update, a patch that aims to fix, rebalance, and hopefully stabilize the game once and for all. So let's talk about what actually changed, because this patch is massive. Arrowhead adjusted primaries, sidearms, throwables, and stratagems across the board. The goal was to make every weapon class feel more unique and useful. Light and medium penetration weapons now have clear roles. Light weapons deal higher percentage damage against durable enemies, while medium weapons focus on consistent penetration. SMGs and pistols got reworked to finally feel like true close range tools. They hit harder up close, but their damage drops off faster at distance. Melee weapons and throwables got huge buffs too, so they actually feel like you're swinging or throwing something powerful. And the resupply pack, yeah, it's no longer climbable. Rip to those emergency parkour moments. Now let's dig into the primary. This is where most of the buffs hit. The SG AP Punisher Plasma projectile damage was decreased from 100 to 0, but the explosion damage was increased to 150 to 225. It's not all about splash. The SG85 Slugger damage went up from 280 to 330. Variable damage from 75 to 90. The AR Liberator and the carbine went from 80 to 90, but on the Liberator, durable from 15 to 22, and the carbine from 15 to 22 as well. The AR-23P penetrator damage up from 60 to 65. The AR-23 concussive damage went up from 65 to 75, durable from 30 to 35. The AR-61 tenderizer durable damage went up from 22 to 30. Solid quality of life change there. The AR-32 pacifier damage from 50 to 55, and its stun per projectile goes from 1.5 to 2, making it better for crowd control. The SMGs, now the SMG-37 Defender, damage 80 to 100, durable damage from 8 to 18, and the drag increase from 0.6 to 1.2 for a tighter feel. The MP98 Knight, same type of buff, damage from 70 to 90, durable 7 to 18, and the drag up to 1.2. The Reprimand, damage buff from 125 to 135 damage, drag to 1.2. SMG 72 Pummeler, damage 70 to 85, durable damage 7 to 18, stun up to 1.5 to 2, all around better SMG. The Last 16 Sickle, damage 55 to 60, durable 5 to 6. The MA5C assault rifle, which is the Halo assault rifle, buffed from 80 to 90. The M7S SMG, the Silence Halo SMG, damage from 70 to 80, and the durable from 7 to 16. Drag went up from 0.6 to 1.2, and the Killzone SMG, the STA11 SMG, from 70 to 90, damage durable from 7 to 18, drag from 0.6 to 1.2. Then we have the Plas 39 Accelerator Rifle, extra spare mags increase from 8 to 12, and the ergonomics from 40 to 60, and smoother handling. The Plas 1 Scorcher Plasma now passes through foliage without losing velocity. Small but great buff. Now let's move on to the sidearms and melee weapons. We got the CQC2 Saber, damage up from 110 to 125, durable from 55 to 65. Then the CQC5 Combat Hatchet, big buff, damage from 110 to 160, durable from 55 to 80, slightly slower attack speed, but better damage. Then we move on to the Machete, which is 170 to 200 damage, durable from 80 to 100. Then we got the P2 Peacemaker, damage went up to 85 to 95, durable from 25 to 30, and drag went from 0.6 to 1.2. The Redeemer, damage from 60 to 70, durable damage from 5 to 12, but the drag is 0.6 to 1.2. The Verdict, 125 to 135 damage, drag 0.6 to 1.2, and the same thing with the Halo pistol. This S6C SOCOM went from 110 to 110 damage, drag from 0.6 to 1.2. Then the P92 Warrant, drag decrease from 0.3 to 0, gravity multiplier drop for 1 to 0.3, easier to land shots now. Now we go on to the throwables. The TED 63 Dynamite got a massive buff. Damage went from 700 to 1000. Armor penetration up from medium to heavy. And demolition 30 to 40. Stagger 30 to 40. But uses reduced from 4 to 3. And then we have the G7 Pineapple. Way stronger now. More shrapnel, higher demolition, strength, inner radius increased, and the damage up from 70 to 100. And we have the G50 Seeker, now prioritizes find enemies and mark targets, and damage up from 400 to 500. We got the normal G6 Frag, uses increase from 5 to 6. And now the Smoke Grenade, uses from 4 to 5. The throwing knife's damage went up too significantly from 250 to 300. Durable damage from 100 to 150. And basically every throwable now feels more reliable now. Let's talk about the stratagem buffs because there's a lot. We got the Blast 45 Epoch. Explosion duration increased slightly, delayed muzzle charge VFX for better visibility, and explosion damage up from 400 to 500. Then we have the M105 Stalwart, damage from 80 to 90, and durable damage from 15 to 22. The Flam 40 Flamethrower, canister capacity up from 130 to 150, starting canisters from 2 to 3, and the Max Spares 4 to 5. Solid quality of life buff. Then we got the anti-material rifle. Durable went up from 180 to 225. Max 4 to 5, and then spare max 6 to 8. The AC8 autocannon, damage from 260 to 325. That's pretty huge. Then we have the G52 de-escalator, damage doubled from 55 to 100. Durable from 55 to 70. And the MS11 solo silo, health went up from 800 to 1500, and this is great as enemies no longer target it and it's harder to destroy. Then we got a buff to the orbital rail cannon strike, cooldown reduced from 110 to 180 seconds. And last but not least, the EXO 45 Patriot exosuit, vessel penetration buffed slightly, and rotary gun ammo increased from 1000 to 1350. But they didn't stop at weapons. Enemy rebalancing was a big focus too. The Illuminates and Terminates now have better weak spot logic and slightly reduced health pools, which should make fights feel fair. The Rupture enemies unburrow slower and are easier to dodge, which fixes one of the most annoying issues in the game. And finally, automatons are less spammy with reinforcements, and War Striders now actually have weak spots you can go for. Plus those dragon roaches, their spawn rates got nearly in half. Thank you, Arrowhead. One of the biggest parts of this patch was performance optimization and bug fixing. I used to deal with hard locks constantly on my PC, It would just freeze like mid-mission or at the start of the game. And since this update, I've barely experienced it. Some Helldivers are still reporting issues, but overall, it's a night and day difference. Arrowhead also cleaned up hundreds of minor bugs, texture issues, and crashes, especially during big fights with lots of explosions. As much as I love seeing these fixes, there's still two major concerns left, which is content and the drama. Arrowhead has said they're delaying new content drops to focus on stability, which I totally understand, but it would be great to see both happening side by side. Even a small update, new stratagems, weapons, or mission variants would help bring players back and keep the game alive between the patches. I've got to say, I hope that Aeroven and Lieutenant Buzz Lightyear situation gets resolved soon. These guys have been core voices in the Helldivers community for a long time, and seeing them sidelined has left a sour taste for a lot of players. The community matters, and Arrowhead should really lean into that if they want to rebuild the trust that's been shaking lately. Overall, this patch feels like a step in the right direction. Arrowhead clearly heard the feedback, and while it's not perfect, it's proof that they still care about fixing the game. So, what do you think about this update? Did it fix the issues for you, or are you still running into problems? Drop your thoughts down below. I love reading your takes. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and as always, manage democracy. This is Fate signing off.
She for the streets. Got green rocks, Frankenstein. Makes sense and none at the same time. You MC squared, I'm Einstein. I'm the new Johnny Cash, well, waterline.